say like message like, hey, we just got this alert. What should we do? Yeah. And, like totally ignore it. Right. Right. It was like, hey, are you ready to go live?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Give me a mic check.
Hmm?
Give me a mic check.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about this loud if that's okay with you, probably, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh my God! Yeah, congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Heard. Yep.
Yeah.
Shock date.
How long would that hit need to be? Do you want nuts and bolts or do you just want basic? Heard.
2 days after you get married, and then kind of
Yeah.
Did you plan this thing?
Like, oh, there was 4 people on board.
Yeah. For some reason, there was a reporter on board this.
How was it?
Honestly, it worked out really, really well. So the diciest part was that we forced our families to do a 17-mile bike ride. Have you heard of the Virginia Creeper Trail? No. It's a rails and trails kind of thing. So it's like pretty flat actually. But we just wanted to get our folks to do something and not just sitting around this house. So we like rented a bunch of bikes and had them do the trail. We weren't totally sure if we'd be able to finish it, but they were good. And they were all very proud of it afterwards.
A wedding and a workout.
Oh. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Congratulations. I'm happy for you guys.
Good to finally get it done.
Yeah.
We're thinking about doing a brunch on Sunday. It's so if you guys are around.
We'll we're in St. Louis this weekend, but we'll come back sometime later. So if you guys are having just people over hanging out, we'd love to see you.
It's like we have so many eggs I never got even used.
It's like every St. Patrick's Day for us.
Yeah.
I understand.
Is he in Frankfurt right now?
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
But I guess
Is it Hayden?
It's going to be easy for like Lexington outlets and stuff to do that.
Hayden and Val.
Get the whole state, let the mayor do this. Still kind of good.
told them.
You guys got it. I heard that. I'm listening to it too.
What's the, what do you do usually, is that so you can like activate other emergency people who
That you get, it frees
Yeah.
up more money.
Like more
It's
more
like
reserves.
kind of, yeah.
And the like National Guard, they could probably deploy if they
Yeah.
needed
Yep,
to.
exactly. It kind of cuts a bunch of red tape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's
happens anyway?
That's why they do it before like floods hit and stuff.
when people are protesting ICE.
Yes.
Speaking of, has there been any federal, like, White House,
I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't seen anything
they're
yet.
probably still busy.
I didn't even know who won last night, so I went home and I was like scrolling. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And that's probably where their head's probably at more these days. Or at least today.
So is that those spot right here? If you do something. You could, here. Because I can scooch some.
You know, politics don't stop.
Yesterday's deadly plane crash. We must also remember
He's talking about snap now.
Stand by.
Oh, are you talking?
Still be able to enjoy it if you start. Any questions to ask any of these?
Go be the boots on the ground.
So you have it in here, right?
for needy families or TANF program that the federal government was not going to fund. That was about $12 million that's helping our people, many of which also get SNAP benefits. Following that update on October 24th, we received a letter from the USDA confirming what had already been threatened. The letter said it was suspending all November 2025 benefit payments for SNAP for approximately 42 million Americans that rely on them, and that the suspension would continue until sufficient federal funding was provided. Let me be clear. The president has both the funding and the authority to fund SNAP during a shutdown. In fact, every other president in every other shutdown has done so. People going hungry in this instance is a choice that this president has made. So on October 28th, I joined leaders from 24 other states and the District of Columbia in a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration over what I believed was an unlawful decision to terminate SNAP benefits. And Friday of last week, a federal judge agreed with us. They said the president had to either partially or fully fund SNAP for this month and moving forward as long as funds were available. And separately, in a different lawsuit brought by cities, a court said the president needed to fully fund SNAP benefits. But knowing it would still take time for the benefits to roll in, and knowing what the delays were going to be, and being worried that the president would do what he has announced, only partially fund SNAP, I signed an executive order directing $5 million to Feeding Kentucky food banks. Those dollars are going to be used by Feeding Kentucky. They're going to be distributed through the network of 7 regional food banks that work with all the others. Together, these food banks and their nearly 900 local partner agencies, food pantries, soup kitchens, and community programs serve all 120 counties. Only yesterday did our Cabinet for Health and Family Services receive the guidance from the USDA that partial payments will be made, though that came around the same time President Trump posted on Truth Social saying SNAP benefits wouldn't go out. And that's a nice tamed-down summary of that post. But today we've received confirmation from the federal government that they will begin processing payments tomorrow. Kentucky is ready, willing, and able to work around the clock as quickly as possible once funding is received. It's important to remember SNAP benefits are typically staggered through the month, and therefore payments will be too. But I can assure you our teams will be working day and night to make it happen. But knowing the benefits aren't there yet, and recognizing the strain on families and on food banks who are stepping up more than usual, I'm taking another step today. I have authorized the Kentucky National Guard, the best guard in the country, to assist in staffing food banks as needed. What this means is that every dollar we're providing to the food banks can go towards purchasing the food, and that we can provide the extra staffing that's needed as they see a surge of families coming in. It'll help ensure Feeding Kentucky and their partner food banks can focus on distributing meals without the hardship of finding additional staff. As the federal shutdown continues, we're also thinking about all the ways that federal workers face hardships, and we're doing what we can to help. One way we're doing this is by urging insurance providers to continue coverage for federal workers so they don't lose that coverage. More than 23,000 Kentucky families are experiencing a loss of income due to the shutdown, something that is no fault of their own. Remember, many have not been paid since mid-October. It's incredibly unfair for them to fear losing coverage on top of concerns about paying rent or groceries or doctor's appointments. In a bulletin we released yesterday, we encouraged insurers to implement the following protective measures for policyholders who are federal employees. Number 1, postpone or withdraw termination of coverage notices that have occurred during the shutdown. Continue that coverage for those federal workers with unpaid premiums for at least another 30 days or 30 days after the shutdown ends. Give our people the time to receive their paychecks and make their payments. Number 2, I'm also asking for federal employees to have more time to make payments on premiums and other charges. Insurers are allowed to extend payment periods for Kentuckians in this type of situation. That way, our federal employees can still get services during the shutdown and have more time to pay. I'm also asking for these companies to allow more time for repairs, giving Kentuckians more time to pay for necessary repairs. So if during a routine home inspection an insurer notes a problem with the roof, the insurer will usually give a time frame that the Kentuckian has to make repairs to that roof. If the repair isn't made within the time frame, the policy's canceled, and that Kentuckian now doesn't have coverage. We know that it's unfair at a time when people aren't receiving a paycheck through no fault of their own to lose coverage for a repair that they don't have the dollars to pay for. So we're asking for those repair times to be extended. Kentuckians with a loss of income due to the shutdown who are threatened with policy cancellations can contact the Department of Insurance for more information. Additionally, the National Flood Insurance Program stopped writing new policies on October 1st due to the shutdown. This could have an impact on prospective homeowners whose mortgage company requires flood insurance to complete their purchase of a new home. To assist these buyers, the Department of Insurance has compiled a list of surplus lines of insurance that offer flood insurance coverage and a list of brokers who sell the insurance. Anybody who needs flood insurance can contact DOI's Consumer Protection Division for additional guidance. We've listed contact information on the screen for those relief programs. So please reach out. Team Kentucky is here to help. Moving on, a lot of people after seeing that plane crash are thinking about safety. We're taking an additional step today to make Kentuckians safer. We have seen 3 straight years of decreases in drug overdose deaths, thank God. Last year, we saw our overdose deaths drop by 30%. We're going to keep protecting the lives of our people. That's why this week, my administration is taking action to classify a dangerous form of kratom as a Schedule I narcotic. This will make the sale, distribution, and possession of this form of kratom illegal. This is a powerful and addictive drug that has no place in Kentucky. Because of this action, law enforcement and regulatory agencies can get this drug out of communities. Earlier this year, I took the same step with a drug called Designer Xanax. Every step we take to help protect the lives of our people and to continue to make progress in our fight of addiction is worth it. For those struggling with addiction, please remember there's help. Please visit findhelpnowky.org. We care about you. We love you. Help is right there. Just have the courage to make that call. All right. Also, this last Saturday, we lost one of Kentucky's great leaders, our first and only female governor of Kentucky, a friend of mine, Governor Martha Lane Collins. She was a powerhouse, transforming our Commonwealth through major accomplishments, like bringing Toyota to our state for its first U.S. site, and still, it's the largest Toyota manufacturing facility in the world. She created a foundation for us to build a strong future on, and her legacy will continue to benefit Kentucky families for generations. She was a proud Kentuckian, and she'll be greatly missed. As a kid, I got to see her in that role and the strength in which she governed. I remember getting the opportunity to go over to the governor's mansion. She had a dog named Jinx, but just a great person who later would provide good advice, a lot of support, and would continue the great foreign direct investment ties she had to benefit the Commonwealth for decades after she served as governor. Brittany and I are praying for her husband, Bill, for Steve, her son, the entire family, as we remember this remarkable leader who made an undeniable difference in our state. Plans for a service to honor Governor Collins are still underway, and we think we'll have more information in the next day or so. For now, we know that the former governor will lie in the old state capitol this Sunday, with the public able to pay their respects from noon until 3 p.m. We should have more information soon. Finally, our Team Kentucky All-Stars, over the last 5 years, we have been hit by a pandemic, by natural disasters, by mass shootings. We've been hit with a lot. And I think there's a saying that God saves his toughest challenges for his strongest soldiers. And I always see Kentuckians rise to the occasion. And on something like this plane crash, you just see the worst of the worst, almost the unimaginable. But immediately after, we always see the best of the best. Now, after enduring flooding, that's neighbors carrying neighbors to safety. And certainly during this disaster, during this plane crash, it was a surge of brave, of well-trained, and of skilled first responders that took on a raging fire and have rendered the area so much safer in a very short period of time. They show everybody that you can come from, 15, 20 different fire departments, different groups, and you can work together seamlessly. 50 different fire trucks putting out the flames and then bravely walking through a dangerous area, going from what used to be a building to another what used to be a building, trying to find people. I got to watch the footage from the helicopter in real time, while that fire was still going on, of brave men and women moving through the area, trying to find people that needed help. So listen, our Team Kentucky All-Stars today and every day are all these first responders, both at the site and who do the planning and the execution off-site. Sadly, we've gotten really good at this. The Louisville group, emergency management, everybody they work with is top-notch. The state group is too. By now, we're all on a first-name basis and know just about everything about each other's families too. I hate that that's the case because it means that we have responded time and time again, but I can tell the people of Kentucky that this group is the very best at what they do, and we are so blessed to have them. So they are today's Team Kentucky All-Stars. All right, we've got a couple of journalists that are with us in the room today. We also have about 4 on the line. We'll start with Carolina from WLEX. Yeah. So right now, we are tracking 9 fatalities. I do believe that will grow by at least 1. There were 3 crew members, and we don't have confirmation on them, but if we've seen that video, we know we're very worried about each of those. So that would suggest that there are at least 6 individuals, if not 7, outside of the crew that were impacted. When you look at where the plane hit, thankfully it missed that restaurant. And by the way, they've opened up their restrooms in their facility for first responders. Pretty incredible. After just about having your facility and everybody inside wiped out, that you're now a part of the rescue. So very proud of them. It hit 2 of the lesser populated businesses in the area. It hit the Kentucky Petroleum Recycling, and because of what they have there, and the tanks that they have, that made the situation more dangerous. It appears the pressure valves did go off. It did cause, we think, extra smaller explosions, but it appears they may have operated as intended to prevent it from being worse. At different times, first responders did have to take cover because of what they were dealing with, but they were trained and ready and knew what was on site really quickly, really impressive to watch, and I was listening to it in real time. It then hit, I think it's called Grade A Auto Parts, which isn't just a store. It's more of a large lot of cars. I don't know if it's a pick-apart, but it looks like one of the pick-apart yards, at least from overhead. So not as densely populated as a number of the other businesses would be. Now, there are some other, we believe, small businesses there, and there are a number of buildings that were fully destroyed or partially destroyed. Getting in to the blaze quickly was complicated by that, but these groups got in and got control of this much faster than I think most people would have believed was possible. This is very close to the Ford facility. Very close. I was talking with their CEO, who we spoke directly, cares about the people in that facility, and Ford leadership has surged in. I think they'll be fully open by this afternoon, but was being very careful with their people. I mean, the images from just the back of their facility are incredible, and how close it is. The convention center, the livestock show is very close, and so people were coming in. Talked directly to their head of security, who shut down people coming in, got the information out there to take care of folks. Louisville Emergency Management did a really good job, first with the 5-mile radius, but then very quickly being able to see where the smoke was going. And give a smaller radius for that, and now it's down much tighter, and then we are doing water testing right now in and around the area, and everybody can rest assured that we're going to use all the best science for that and be able to tell them when everything is safe. It's hard to lose 9+ people, and consider yourself lucky, and I don't think we're lucky, but it could have been much worse. Do we have Lachlan? Okay, Tom Latek is on the line.
Thank you, Governor. Had to jump and get the unmute button there. I would like to hear your take on the election results in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia, and what you think that might lead the 2026 midterms to.
Well, as vice chair of the Democratic Governors Association, I'm very proud that last night we went 2 for 2, and they weren't close. Our gubernatorial candidates both made history. One flipping Virginia, becoming the first female governor of Virginia, winning by, I think, 15 points more than projected. And then Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey becoming governor. This is the first time there's been 3 consecutive Democratic gubernatorial terms in 60 years. Neither of these races were easy. I certainly was directly involved in very significant ways in both of them, but most of the credit should go to those 2 candidates who are great leaders. And the thing that I'm excited the most is that they will govern well. But what you saw across the country were Democrats winning in city council races in South Carolina, statewide PSC races in Georgia. You saw the New York race and many others. And I think it says 2 things. Number one, the American people are so concerned about the American dream slipping away. They are looking for candidates that are focused on their everyday concerns and needs, and that starts with their job and whether they can afford what they need to feed their family, maybe take them on a vacation every once in a while, the ability to afford that next doctor's appointment, to be able to travel safe roads and bridges, to know the school they drop their kids off at is a quality school, and they want to feel safe in their neighborhoods. That's where the Democratic candidates were. That's how they ran, even across different parts of a political spectrum. That's what people were promising. And, you know, I'm putting it out there. I don't want it to be a secret because I think Republicans, independents, all those candidates should be running the same way. And maybe that's a way to heal the country, to bring everybody back in, to make these issues nonpartisan, and then not to move to the right or the left, but to move forward. But I think the other thing we saw was a very clear statement that politically, President Trump has been a failure in his first year of his second term. The president was involved in and lost the Wisconsin Supreme Court races. He was involved in and lost both of these governor's races. He even endorsed a non-Republican in the mayor's race in New York and lost. So I hope that this gives courage to people who've lacked it in Congress to do their jobs again. I'm not asking them to be a Democrat or an independent. I'm asking them to be a separate branch of government that believes in checks and balances and restores lawfulness to Washington, D.C. Just do your job. There's not a political advantage to not doing your job, and the people of the United States are watching. Okay, we've got WLKY. Okay, we have Sylvia Goodman. All right, we have Liam from the Kentucky Lantern.
Hi, Governor. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. I had a little bit of context before I asked my question. There's an advocacy group called the Kentuckians for Energy Democracy that they say that have organized roughly 40 other organizations to sign on to an effort urging you to issue a executive order for moratorium on stopping utility disconnections during the government shutdown until the next allocation of LIHEAP funding is made available to Kentuckians. The National Energy Assistance Directors Association, which represents state directors of LIHEAP programs, last month called for utilities to suspend shutoffs during the government shutdown. I wanted to ask a little bit of a 2-part question. Would you consider such a move? And second, what's your understanding of the status of LIHEAP funds in Kentucky, especially in the context of cuts to the federal LIHEAP office earlier this year?
Yeah, let me get you where we are on LIHEAP. I'll certainly consider any information that is sent to me that would help our people during the shutdown. I don't think that I have seen that petition, but if it's reached us, I will make sure that I do. Always willing to consider things that could help the people of Kentucky, especially those that work for our federal government and that aren't receiving a paycheck right now through no fault of their own. Okay. Of what's the last? Okay. So Sylvia Goodman is asking, do we have an estimate of homes, businesses in the area that are in the radius for water? I believe Louisville Emergency Management is putting out that information directly, both on social media and working to do it directly. Now, this is not a densely populated residential area. It is almost entirely an industrial area that is impacted. At least 2 businesses have been massively hit, and we'll try to get a number of the others around them. Certainly, we've got enough people on the scene where we ought to be communicating directly to those businesses to make sure that we keep people safe. All right, we'll be back next week with our Team Kentucky update. We'll have all the pieces of good news we were otherwise going to report on this week ready then, and a double dose of good news will be something that we all deserve by that time. Please pray for these families. We've been hit a lot in the Commonwealth, but we are strong. We are also kind. Let's make sure that we give to the fund. Let's make sure we support these families in their time of need. Thank y'all.
outpouring of support already from local companies, local foundations, and individuals to ask what they can do to help. And so we're going to all partner on this together to support them. That's the Team Kentucky, Team KY Emergency Relief Fund.ky.gov. There's going to be more information put online about that if you're interested in supporting the families of the victims. A few other items on public safety. As we mentioned this morning, the shelter-in-place radius has been reduced to a quarter mile, and we will continue to reduce that as soon as we're confident that it is safe. Can continue to try to shrink that throughout the day. Air monitoring continues to go on around the crash site and around the city, and all residential water service is safe to drink. Everyone's water is safe to drink unless you have been specifically reached out to by the Louisville Water Company giving you an advisory. You should feel comfortable that your water is safe to drink. LG&E is getting power back on to those non-affected areas outside of the crash site right now. Last I heard, there were 135 customers still without power. Also want to talk about drones for a minute. Right now, there's a temporary flight restriction that's been put in place by the FAA surrounding the crash site. There's no reason for any drones from private individuals or other organizations to be flying right now. They could get in the way of our recovery operations. If you are flying a drone within this TFR area, we will find your drone and you run the risk of prosecution, of heavy federal fines. Please do not be that person that is getting in the way of our recovery efforts. Give our first responders, give the NTSB, give everyone the opportunity to deal with that site, and please don't use drones right now in that restricted airspace. Congressman McGarvey and I have been in touch since the first moments after this happened. I also want to thank Robin Taylor from Senator McConnell's office here. We've been in touch with Senator Paul's office, with Congressman Guthrie's office. In times like this, everybody puts partisan politics aside here in Kentucky, and we're all working closely together. Governor Beshear and his administration, my administration, and all of our federal delegation working together to bring whatever resources each of we can in partnership to get answers, to provide relief and resources, and to ensure that our city is safe and coming together to support those who are in need. Congressman McGarvey and I also just left a meeting with the NTSB, and I'm going to now turn it over to Congressman McGarvey to say a few words about that meeting and share a few things about next steps. Congressman McGarvey.
Thank you, Mayor Greenberg. I really appreciate your leadership at this time and everything you're doing in both mobilizing people, mobilizing emergency crews, making sure people have what they need, but also for your compassion, your emotional leadership at this time. Reality is this rocked our community. Louisville looked apocalyptic last night. The images of smoke coming over our city, of debris falling in every neighborhood, people trapped in their homes. For the families who lost someone who won't be coming home. This is awful. This is not something you think happens here. And when it does, it impacts every single one of us. I'm a lifelong Louisvillian. To answer the question, I went to Manual High School. Everybody here knows everybody. We're the biggest small city in America, and if you don't know someone directly impacted by this, you know someone who does. But this is when we're also at our best, is when things are worst. And we come together. And I can tell you, we're all working together. The mayor's office, the governor's office, Senator McConnell's office, Senator Paul's office, Congressman Guthrie's office, the entire delegation. We are bringing the full resources of the federal government to bear on this tragedy, to make sure that we get answers as quickly as possible, but also, and I stress that those answers are correct. And it can be frustrating. We all want to know what happened right now. We've seen some of the images online, and there's a lot of internet sleuths. The NTSB is here. They have a full team. What does that look like? 28 people from the NTSB are here on the ground, plus the support network back in Washington, D.C. They are going to analyze absolutely every bit of what happened. We're talking about everything that is man-made, that is machine-made, that is environmental. The NTSB is going to go over with a fine-tooth comb. They are partnering with the Red Cross. They are not only investigating the crash, they are providing direct assistance and communication with victims' families. We are thrilled that they are here. It's going to take a little while, but we will work with them, with everybody involved, to make sure that we know what happens in this instance. There's so many stories of loss. There are also so many stories of bravery. I said last night Louisville looked apocalyptic, awful. And a plane, we know it was a plane, we know it was taking off to Hawaii, we know how much fuel was on board. And when it crashed and that fuel spread everywhere, I had someone tell me it looked like it was raining oil in Louisville. But the Oklahoma Fire Department, it's their jurisdiction. And Chief Little, you and your firefighters did not hesitate. You put your gear on, you got in those trucks, and you raced head first into a truly apocalyptic scene without regard to your own safety or well-being, to do what you do best, to protect our community. Every single one of your firefighters was out last night with the hundreds of others from not just across our county, but across our state. We are extremely grateful for your bravery. We're extremely grateful for your training. It was just 2 weeks ago that we were training for something unfortunately like this. We're grateful for what you do. We're grateful for how you do it. And I want to invite Chief Little from Oklahoma to come up and say a few words.
I'd like to say good afternoon to everyone, give you a brief statement and update about our situation. Last night, about 5 o'clock, shortly thereafter, we were dispatched on an explosion. Shortly thereafter, we were informed that it was a plane crash. And as the governor pointed out, just about 2 weeks ago, we did train with Louisville Fire along with the Airport Authority. This is something that we do annually. You hope that you never have to do this, but unfortunately it happened. So last night we had roughly 38 companies on scene. We had multiple agencies from across the state. We had, and please forgive me, those agencies if I do not name you, but Bardstown, Bullitt County, Lexington, all responded here. We worked with MetroSafe, Louisville Metro EMS, Louisville PD, and all the county fire departments across our county here. They were all represented. So we had roughly 30 ambulances here last night. And today we've downscaled tremendously. We currently have 4 engines, 4 trucks, 2 ambulances on scene. We have roughly 30 to 40 firefighters that are on scene. We have a SARS team. It's a search and rescue team that is represented by all the county departments along with Louisville Fire, and there's approximately 40 members here doing search and rescue through the debris zone. So let's see. So we are currently working with NTSB. We have some hot spots that are out there that we're trying to, some of them we're going to let burn. They're so insignificant right now, but as they flare up, we will extinguish them. One of the issues that we are currently having is the size of the debris zone and actually getting our apparatus there. So I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Just a couple. Thank you very much, Chief. A couple final comments, and then we'll open it up to questions from members of the media. First, we'll continue to stay at this 24/7 as long as necessary. all of us are working on this as well as our respective teams that are out there. I think my last call with the governor last night was around midnight, first one at 5:45 this morning, and our teams are just going above and beyond. And so just want to say thankful to every one of the first responders, Chief Little, thanks to you and the entire team. So we will continue to keep you all updated with additional information as we know it. But for right now, that's the information that we have. As Congressman McGarvey said, I think it was Congressman McGarvey said that NTSB, we hope will have a briefing later this afternoon. We'll be providing some more briefing after the governor arrives in a few hours when we have even more information. Then the final thing I wanted to mention was I know there's a lot of questions about who are the victims that have tragically perished in this crash. The coroner, the Jefferson County coroner has been at the scene, is back at the scene today. They are the ones that confirm the identities of the victims and are the ones that provide that information. And as soon as we have that, we will amplify the information that the coroners are able to provide as soon as they make these identifications. And with that, we will open it up to questions from members of the media.
Can the chief tell us how long the search and recovery part of this incident will go on for? How long are you going to stay out there to look for victims?
If you could repeat the question.
Okay. Repeat the question for me, please. For me.
Repeat it. So
Okay. So how long will we be out there? We'll be out there. We're planning to be there for at least a week or longer. We'll be out there as long as the NTSB needs us to be there. We are prepared for this. So I don't know how many victims we're actually looking for. That's one of the issues. And the debris zone is so large. So trying to get people back there. And with the debris zone, some of that debris is going to have to be moved and searched underneath. So it will take us quite a while.
What is the size of the debris zone?
I don't have a footage or a square mileage, but so Fern Valley Road, probably about 50 yards past Melton. I don't know if you know how long or how far that is. So, but it's a very large debris zone.
Can you give us any other details about that debris zone?
As far as that debris zone, there were a petroleum recycle business that was there that created some issues for us. The oil that was stored there came across the roadways, got into the waterways. LMSD's on scene taking care of that. The other businesses, there were some businesses where you could go and pull apart from scrap vehicles. So large semis that are in there and multiple vehicles. So a lot of scrap metal as well. So.
Do you know how an approximate number of people who are still unaccounted for?
I do not.
We have not. There are more than the number of victims that we have confirmed that have families looking for information about them. Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
Is the city, NTSB, anyone going to share any images of that crash site since people can't drone and crews are being kept pretty far back?
For right now, we're going to defer to the NTSB on that and let them get through their initial assessment. And so you can ask them that this afternoon. Also, just one more thing about the water company is going to be putting up some more information about what I said earlier on their website momentarily here. And I do, as Congressman McGarvey was pointing out, all of these great collaborations and all the offices. I also want to recognize James Victory from Congressman Guthrie's office is here with us as well. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the Congressman's support of all of this effort.
Okay, Chief, could you describe for us the wreckage of the plane itself, what sort of shape it's in, and what have you observed?
For the fuselage, we've not seen much of it, to tell you the truth. There's wreckage that starts from almost Fern Valley Road and does go all the way down past Melton. So there are landing gear that's out there. You would not see a whole fuselage. With the intense fire that was there, most of things are gone. So including some of the vehicles, the semis, and the plane.
The governor had many words of praise for your actions last night and your quick response. And in his words, I think he said things could have been much worse. What else could have happened here without your quick response?
Right here, we're so lucky, to be honest with you. This is not a residential area. Thank God that some of the employees had already left, being after 5 o'clock, so it could have been more catastrophic for us.
Can you share what the Emergency Management Agency found through its air quality testing and what specific findings led to the shelter-in-place order?
I'll defer. We'll get you. The question was about what results were the air monitoring. I'll get with emergency management on that. But they're continuing to monitor it in real time, and as it's safe for everybody, that's when we're increasing it. Public safety is our absolute #1 priority.
Mayor, have you been to the crash site?
I've not yet been. We will be going. Congressman McGarvey, the governor, and I will be going there shortly here after this.
Congressman McGarvey, in your conversations with NTSB, has there been any discussion about possible effects of the government shutdown on the response?
Yeah, I've been in conversations with NTSB since the very beginning of this. Talked to the chair of NTSB several times last night, as late as midnight. Talked with board member Inman, who's on the scene here. He's a true pro, and I should say this, he's also a Kentuckian, which I think makes this very special. They are taking this very seriously. Every resource of NTSB is being brought to bear on this. There is no impact from the shutdown whatsoever.
Chief, how are your firefighters doing?
Our firefighters are doing very well. So we did a shift change this morning, so we have fresh bodies on scene that are capable of handling this. So
Are you offering them any?
we do have refreshments, and many local businesses have offered to donate food and refreshments.
Well, what about
The mental issues, we've not had any at this point. Down the road, we will open that up. We have in-house counsel that comes in and visits with them. We have other programs should something arise and they need to speak to someone.
We know what the NTSB is going to be doing in terms of their investigation of the crash. Is there anything locally that needs to be investigated? Any questions that need to be answered in the aftermath of this?
The question was, are there any local investigations that are commencing? At this time, there are none. NTSB will be taking the lead on why this occurred, and if there are, as a result of that, if information is discovered that means we need to do anything else locally here, we certainly will jump on that immediately. But at this point, there are no local investigations ongoing. We're simply working in partnership as first responders and on the recovery effort and to identify any additional victims.
Do you foresee any discussions in the future about continued presence of commercial buildings, residential buildings, anything that might be south of the airport?
The question was about commercial buildings south of the airport. There are very detailed federal rules and regulations on all of this and where and what you can build and to what heights, all surrounding the airport, that is based on safety practices. I'm confident the federal government continues to evaluate those on a regular basis. We continue to prioritize safety in all aspects, whether that's buildings, whether that's individuals, and so we'll follow the federal government's lead on that. At this point, we don't expect any changes. This is a tragic accident, and we are, again, as you heard the governor say earlier, you heard the chief and others, we are fortunate it was not worse, but this was a tragic accident, and at this point in time, we have no reason to believe it's anything more than that.
I just want to add to that really quickly, if you don't mind, Mayor, because this is about the NTSB and a little bit of a federal issue. I just want to say that the NTSB, they are the experts in this. They know what they're doing. We are glad they are here leading this investigation. Both the mayor and I met with Member Inman this morning and his team when they landed. We've talked to them before they got here. He pointed out this morning, if I'm not mistaken, Mayor, that the NTSB has over 150,000 of these investigations under its belt. They are working closely with us. It is not the feds coming in and just, running over locals. It is a true partnership. They know what they're doing. You've got the mayor's department working well with them, the governor's department of emergency management working well with them. We're all in the same room. We're all on the same page. But they said this morning. I says, David, to your question, it says, "From tragedy we draw knowledge to improve safety for us all," is the motto they gave us this morning. And so.
The question was a conversation I've had with UPS. I've spoken to several UPS executives. They are fully cooperating with the NTSB. They're working on providing support to all of the victims' families at this point in time.
Are all of the victims UPS employees?
The question is, are all of the victims UPS employees? Again, we have not identified the victims. I do not believe that to be the case. We have, UPS has disclosed that there are 3 crew members. Beyond that, I have no knowledge that any of the other victims are UPS employees, but I just don't know at this point in time. They might have been off duty or something like that, so I just don't know that for a fact. A couple more questions.
A couple questions for Director Mann, just short questions. One, you discussed how one runway was open. What is the status of the other runway? Was there any damage sustained? And also, we're looking into the flight that took off yesterday. Were there any maintenance issues or concerns before takeoff that were addressed?
No. So we have one runway open. There was no fodder debris, so we were able to open that with NTSB's concurrence. The primary runway, our west parallel runway, has FOD, and that's where the NTSB is focusing right now. They'll go through all their inspections. The east parallel runway has a little bit of debris. We think that may be able to open this afternoon. As it relates to inspections, problems with maintenance, we just finished Part 139 is a compliance inspection with the FAA, and we have records on every inspection we do on the airfield. I think within an hour prior to that flight, our ops team had been out there and done an inspection, and everything was fine. So from a maintenance perspective, it looks good. As it relates to damage to the airfield, there's debris. There's some minor problems in the grass and the safety areas. The physical pavement is in fine shape right now. So it will open as soon as we have clearance from the NTSB to do so. Again, that takes some time. We have the one runway. We think we'll have the second one open, but we can operate fine with the parallel runway, with especially the air carrier traffic.
All right, we will provide an update on when our next briefing is later this afternoon, and we thank you all very much. We'll continue to keep the entire community updated as soon as we have additional new information. Thank you all very much, and God bless everyone here in Louisville and around the region. These are tough times. We will get through it together. Thank you. Thank you.
Does everybody want